What's good, everybody? One of the biggest reasons we love the UFC, at least for me, is because there's personalities in the sport that we either love, we hate, we love to hate on, we love to fucking make edits of. Today, we're going to be ranking these UFC fighters based on how I would react if they were to be dating my daughter, alright? Let's get right into it with the categories. First category, mi casa tu casa, my brother. If the guys in this tier come to me and they're like, yo, I like your daughter, little Miss Jane is just an excellent young lady, I'd be like, my brother, you have my blessing. Maybe I'd even go seek them out, you know what I mean? I'd go up to these guys, I'd be like, yo, what you think of my daughter, you know? This is the highest level of guys in the UFC. These are guys that you could trust with your daughter, with your life. Fuck it, like I'd even give them my wife, you know? All right, relax. Next tier, when is the wedding? These are guys like this boyfriend. Maybe at the beginning you were like, all right, this guy's cool, whatever. And then over time you've grown to love them. You're like, man, this guy's great. I'm excited for this guy to be, you know, the father of my grandkids. I'm excited for this man to be married to my daughter. I have no problem with it whatsoever, as long as she's happy, right? The next tier, all right, mid guys, UI. I'm still keeping my eye on you, you know. I'm not completely convinced. I'm also not against the idea, absolutely. You're not like completely off my list. I'm not going to report you to the authorities, right? Unlike the next two tiers, absolutely not, and get my shotgun. Absolutely not speaks with itself, you know. Daughter comes home with this man, you look at her, you look back at the guy, you look back at your daughter, you're like, this is the guy? She's like, yeah, Dad, this is... Fuck no, all right? And then get my shotgun, get my fucking gun, bro. I see this guy next to my daughter, I think something is going down that shouldn't be going down, all right? I'm like, honey, get the gun. Let's get right into it with the first fighter, and who better to illustrate the absolutely not tier than Sean O'Malley. Apart from this guy's, you know, physical appearance, we don't like to judge people on their physical because that's not something they control. In the case of Sean O'Malley, he can definitely control it, all right? He's growing that yee ass beard, and you know, all right, it's okay. I have the same beard as Sean O'Malley. Can't be hating on that too much. He's got his fucked up colored hair. That shit's probably dry as fuck, having dyed it 30 times in the last year. And just like personality-wise, I feel like Sean O'Malley is a bit dry. He's a bit immature. You've seen the tattoos, you've seen this, you've seen that. You can tell that the most rational, logical, and healthy thoughts are not running through this guy's mind. You know, I'm sure he's a great father now, but I know for a fact he's not a good partner. Because all right, if you guys don't know the lore of Sean O'Malley, I know a little bit. He's dating this Latina, I think he's married to this Latina girl, who, when he was coming up fighting, was his girlfriend, and she just completely supported him. She was working, paying all the bills. This motherfucker was just fighting, not doing nothing, not bringing in no money, you know, as amateur fighters tend to do. And then once he got rich, he was like, all right, I'm gonna start fucking other girls, all right, because I'm rich and famous now, and you can't fuck any other dudes. And it's just kind of crazy. I feel like now they've come, I've heard that they've come to some agreement where like she's allowed to be with other guys too, and he's still allowed to fuck other girls. But that just seems weird to me. I don't want my girl nowhere near. I want my baby girl, bro. The girl that came out my nutsack. I don't want her nowhere near this fucking guy, all right? And I'm 21 years old. I don't even have a girlfriend, bro. Like, I'm not nowhere near to having a child. But if I had one and she was a girl, I would not want her near Sean O'Malley, all right? Next fighter, Tom Aspinall. Now, I really fuck with Tom Aspinall. I fuck with him heavy. I'm going to have to put him in the when's the wedding tier. I can't put him in the mi casa tu casa tier because he just doesn't elicit, like, that's a special realm. That's like a special realm of fighter that just warms your heart. You look at them and it shit's all sunshines and rainbows and you're like, yeah, man, this is the guy. My daughter's safe. Of course my daughter would be safe with any of these guys. You know, these guys are all professional fighters. But you know what I mean when they're safe. It's more like they're safe from the guy himself. Like, we're going to talk about a little small fella. I don't know if you guys see him down here. We're going to talk about him in a second. He's going to illustrate my fucking point perfectly. But Tom Aspinall, when's the wedding? I'd love for him to date my daughter. He seems like a very chill guy. You know, he's great. He's a family man. He looks like he prioritizes family overall. You know, he has a bunch of kids. I'm sure he'd be a great father. Like, great. Tom Aspinall, great. No issues with him at all. He just doesn't elicit that type of feeling. Now, Khamzat Chimaev. The initial instinct here is to put this guy in the get my shotgun tier. But I've seen him interact with kids. I know he has a wife. I know he has children. That really isn't that big of like a... It doesn't really say much about these guys because guys in the Caucasus region, you know, Islam, Habib, Evlev, we're going to talk about him in a second. I feel like they're promised girlfriends like 3,000. You know, like on some Jewish shit. They're promised a girl 3,000 years ago. So I'm gonna have to put him in the absolutely not tier just because, yes, he is crazy. He's this, he's that. I don't think he'd ever like do anything wrong to a woman. He just doesn't strike me that way. He comes from a torn up, war torn country in Chechnya. Like I've seen him treat. You remember that one video of him talking to that girl who'd lost her father and her mother, I believe, and then she was asking Hamza to teach his brother how to fight. It was just a very heartwarming. I feel like he wouldn't be as bad as appearances say. Yes, he says he's a terrorist. Yes, he's a little bit sick in the head. Yes, he fucking lays on DDP for 30 minutes in side control. But I had to put him in the absolutely not tier. Now, the tier made for this man. And I don't know if anyone else is going to go in this tier, really. Or maybe a couple guys. Motherfucking John Bones Jones. Jesus Christ. What can I say that I have not already said about this guy on my channel? This fucking guy. He cheats. Both on his wife. He cheats in the cage. He fucking took steroids for his fights against DC. He beats his fucking wife as well. Like, again, he's committed multiple crimes. He's under the influence. He's always on some type of drug, bruh. Testing positive for this and that. Was on hooker. Like, he went out on a night of hookers and cocaine or whatever. While, grown-ass man married with kids, by the way, right? I don't know, man. And John Jones, low-key gay too. I mean, there's no issue with him being gay. But I don't want my daughter to date a closeted gay man. Like, I want my daughter to either like date a guy that fucks with her, either bisexual or straight or something, attracted to women, right? Or not date at all. Like, if you're gonna date a guy that Loki doesn't even like girls, and Floyd's, no, he Loki doesn't even like girls, I don't know why you'd be dating him at all. So I'm gonna have to put John Jones in the get my shotgun tier. If this guy come up to my door talking about I'm dating your daughter, this isn't that, I try to pull my shotgun on him that I don't have. I try to pull the shotgun out, and he'd probably slide me out. He'd probably like just chin me with a spinning elbow. But this is all hypothetical. Again, no daughter, no shotgun, no John Jones at my door. Thank fucking God this guy isn't at my fucking door. But yeah, man, John Jones, I would not trust this guy with my daughter in the slightest. Bro, no fucking way, alright? DDP, Dricus du Plessis, same situation as Tom Aspinall, just better. The South African Lion, my GOAT. I love DDP. I think DDP's super intelligent. I know his fight style might not, speak to that at times. I think he's super intelligent, very well spoken. I think he'd be a great father. I think he's responsible. This is all things that to me give him bonus points, in the eyes of me as a father. Give him bonus points for my daughter. I think he'd take great care of her. In South Africa, bro, that would be a fire country to go visit. Like, imagine me taking a flight to South Africa, see the grandkids, see the fucking son-in-law, watch him, I don't know, wrestle a leopard for lunch. Like, that's fire, bro. Like, I'd love to have Dricus du Plessis in my family as my son-in-law. I'm sure my daughter would be super safe with him. Absolute cinema. I love this guy. I'd love to have him in my family. Conor McGregor, get my shotgun. Now, current Conor McGregor, like today, coked up, steroids, cheating on his wife with midgets, like all that shit, bro. Get my fucking shotgun. Prime Conor, when he was with his girl for real, they were like ride or die, no drugs, super clean, super healthy, super fluid. Just prime Conor chinning out Eddie Alvarez, chinning Jose Aldo. Put that guy in Mi Casa Tu Casa. Like, that guy would be top tier, but right now, bro, not even God can save this man. This guy went to like Mexico or some shit for some spiritual retreat, came back absolutely the same, bro. All you did was move back looking ass dude. Like, this guy did not change one bit coming back from Mexico. But yeah, man, get my shotgun today against this Conor right now for sure. But prime Conor, S tier without a doubt. All right, Merab Dvalishvili. Now I'm gonna have to put Merab in the UI tier. I know I have my Georgian casuals in the chat. Shout out to my Georgian homie. I feel like I shout him out every video. I got homies in every ethnicity, bro. We not that racist over here, only a little bit. Merab, the reason this guy isn't higher is because he's always hanging around ladies. Like, every video he's doing, every fucking skit, there's always some fucking BBL demon on the screen. There's some fucking BBL Brazilian bust down, like just like some random Latin American ladies always surrounding this guy, always feeling up on my man Merab. And I feel like I get the feeling that even if he had a girlfriend, he would not stop with the stunts. Like, he would not. I love Merab as a guy. Yes, he's a big yapper. We'd be at the family dinners. He'd be like, hey, listen, I love your daughter. I'm going to take her to Georgia. Like, he'd probably offer me like 13 goats for my daughter and shit. But I'd have to put Merab in the UI tier. Just because he doesn't really elicit like a feeling of security in that way. I feel like Merab low-key might cheat on his girl, which would be my daughter in this case. And I wouldn't want that for any girl, much less my own daughter that I love, my own flesh and blood. So give me Merab in the UI tier. We'd see how it goes. You know, maybe he changes ways after dating my daughter. Maybe my daughter would have that effect on him, but who knows? We have to put him there for now, all right? My boy, Song Yadong. Now, you guys might think I'm crazy, all right? Might think I'm crazy because Song Yadong, you know, we don't know that much about him. He's not super fluent in English yet. But from what I've seen, from everything I've seen him, you know, talk about, from his style, from his mannerisms, from his heritage, mi casa tu casa, I would love to have a handsome young Chinese man as my son-in-law. I love China, all right? Hashtag white boys for China. Hashtag white China summer, all 2027 or whatever. I'd love to have a son-in-law in China. I'd love to go visit them in China if that's where they were living. I fuck with Chinese food heavy. Very heavy. It's in my top 5 favorite foods. Top 7, you know. Food tier list coming soon on the channel. And he just seems like just a sweetie. He just seems like a sweetie pie. And that's going to be the trend for this tier. If you're in this tier, you're a sweetie pie. You're a sweetheart. Like, that's a bare minimum requirement to be in the tier, is being a sweetie. All right? Song Yadong, sweetie. He's probably going to end up at the bottom of this tier. But he's still mi casa tu casa. Would have no issues with Song. I would love to speak broken English with him at the dinner table any day of the week. All right? Give me Song Yadong, mi casa tu casa. Movsar Evloev, absolutely not. Absolutely fucking not, brother. I had to put him at the top of the absolutely not tier list. I don't think he's as bad as O'Malley or Chimaev. But my issue is his actual current romantic situation. Did this guy not marry a 14-year-old when he was like 17, 18? Bro, what are we doing? That ass, you couldn't find a girl your age to 14 years old? And the tradition is like, these guys have sex on wedding night. Like, this guy genuinely smashed a 14-year-old at one point. And that's crazy. Being a grown-ass man at 17, 18, like, to me, that's already a grown-ass man. Yes, that's only a 4-year age gap, whatever. But, bro, imagine 8-year age gap. 50 and 58, not an issue at all. 10 and 18. 10 years old with an 18-year-old, 8-year age gap. That's only, like, 4 years more than what fucking Evloev has going on with his girl. So yeah, man, of course now Evloev's like 29 or something. His girlfriend would be 25, I believe. Now it's not bad. But back in the days, like, absolutely not. And to me, I don't care if that's in your culture. I don't care if that's tradition for your people or whatever. If you're willing to be with a 14-year-old in that context, as a grown-ass man, I don't know that much about your ethics, all right? And also, he's kind of boring, like, personality-wise. He doesn't got that much going on. But that's not that big of a factor for me. Maximus Holloway. Now, listen here, brother. Maximus Holloway, yes, he has CTE. Maybe that's what's stopping him from going in the top tier. I fuck with this guy. I just think he might not be the brightest. I don't know if that's a CTE. I don't know if that's this or that. Like, if my daughter were to date this man, I would be, like, thanking my lucky stars that he's a professional MMA fighter. Because I could not see Max Holloway doing anything else. Be that because he's been fighting since he was like 13 or whatever. Or be that for something else, right? But I could not see Max Holloway holding down a job. I couldn't see holding... Like, he'd low-key remind me... Like, he'd be like this cool... I feel like as a father, there might be a time in like many of these fathers' lives where their daughter brings home a guy that's like super chill, great guy. You know, he's never going to hurt your daughter. He's never going to like cheat on her or nothing like that. He's never going to do nothing bad. But you just feel like this guy doesn't really have that much of a future going on. You know? He doesn't have that much going on in his life. Now, of course, he is a professional fighter. That's why I'm putting him in When's the Wedding. But being just some random unemployed guy with Max Holloway's personality, he'd go in the UI tier. Okay? Because I just feel like he doesn't have... Like, I would be happy that my daughter's dating Max Holloway. Don't get me wrong. But I wouldn't be like, mi casa tu casa, my brother. Like, I wouldn't be just... My heart wouldn't be filled with joy in the same way as it would for other fighters, all right? Dan Hooker. Oof. He's either the top of absolutely not or the bottom of get my shotgun. I think I'm gonna put him in the get my shotgun tier. And this doesn't have to do, okay, has nothing to do with the fact that he be low-key fucking boys on the side. It has to do with the fact that he has like multiple levels of cheating going on. This guy cheated on his wife with a side piece, and then cheated on the side piece, I didn't even think that was possible, with fucking guys on Grindr or some shit. Like, that's a triple threat of cheating, and who knows how many more layers this shit got to it. I don't want my daughter anywhere near, I don't want my daughter like anywhere near a world where her man is doing this shit. Basically, I don't want my daughter to date a guy that puts a stipulation on the relationship saying, yeah, since I'm a professional fighter, since I'm hella rich, since I be making money and I'm famous, I can fuck whoever I want, and you can't do nothing about it. Like, I don't want my daughter to be dating these guys. That's why Sean O'Malley's in the absolutely not tier. That's why fucking Dan Hooker is here. And we're gonna put some more guys here if they come to mind, alright? In the next, I think, look at that, I don't think we have many more left. But yeah, man. Dan Hooker, get my shotgun. I don't want you nowhere near my daughter, bro. I don't want her near that mess. I'm sure you're a great guy, just not for relationships, alright? Charles Oliveira, mi casa, tu casa, my brother. Now, this is probably the most uncontroversial part of this tier list. Charles Oliveira, we would all love Charles to date our daughter. Bro, I would give Charles anything he asked for, bro. And that's not glazed. It's not glazed to say that. It's not glazed to say Charles can take my daughter and I'd pay him money. This guy is such a sweetie. He's so comfortable with his emotions. You know, this guy is not afraid to cry when he feels like crying. He doesn't have no toxic masculinity. He's great with the kids. He gives back to the community. He's in the favelas giving kids books and shit. He's giving people food on the streets. He's teaching disabled kids jiu-jitsu. He's talking about the doctor. Oh, the edits, bro. Like, he's great with his kids. He went on that title run and dyed his hair blonde after having his first child. And then he went on another title run after having his daughter. Like, bro, that's fire. This is a family man through and through. The GOAT. Just the more I talk about him, the more excited I get. Charles Oliveira, I would have zero issues in my heart. I would be content. I could die happy knowing Charles Oliveira is dating my daughter. My daughter would be in excellent hands. All right. Ian Gary, what a switch up. Now, all right. Ian Gary is kind of tragic because I feel like he's been corrupted by his wife. I think it's his wife. Yeah, by his wife Layla, right? Layla Machado. Oh, I made an Ian Gary video on the channel about, does Ian Gary deserve our respect? And in there I talk about the controversy, the reason why a lot of people don't fuck with Ian Gary, why they don't fuck with his wife. The whole thing, she's like significantly older than him. She's like 40, I think, and he's like 30 something. Or he's not even, no, he's like 27. Like, this she's pushing 40, and she wrote a book like a long time ago on how to date young athletes to make money, and then she started dating Ian Gary after publishing that book. Like, that's crazy. How do you as Ian Gary see that shit and be like, yeah, no, she definitely fucks with me, twin, she definitely loves me? Like, I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw that shit. And then her ex-husband, they're still in contact. Not only that, he's fucking Ian Gary's nutritionist that puts him, an elite athlete, into a vegan diet. And they live together. Oh, this is where all the cookout. Just like rubbing my face like a fly thinking about this shit right now. This is criminal. But yeah, man, Ian Gary, he has to be. Bro, do I put him above a pedophile? I mean, is it that bad? Because low-key, my daughter would be cooking Ian Gary. I wouldn't feel that bad about it. Just because he's that like submissive kinda. I'm gonna have to put him. Hold on, let's reorganize this tier. I think Evlev's the worst. I think then it's O'Malley, Hamza, and Ian. I think Ian is a little better than no. Yeah. Ian's definitely worse than Hamza. Wait, this is the best, right? So Hamza and then Ian Gary, Sean O'Malley, Movsar Evloev, right? This is the worst tier. So again, John Jones would go there. There we go. So these are the tiers organized right now. So I'd have Ian Gary here. I think he's a little bit worse than Hamza because Hamza hasn't really told me anything that would indicate he's bad in a relationship. But I just don't want my daughter in that kind of dynamic, bro. Like, I don't think that's too much to ask for. I don't want my daughter to be with her ex-husband. I don't want my daughter to be taking advantage of this guy. Him being so, like, weak in the relationship where he's taking this shit. Like, just taking the beating, laying down. Like, no way. No way, all right? Give me Ian Gary at the absolutely not tier. Islam Makhachev. I fuck with Islam. I fuck with Islam Makhachev heavy. I think he's going to be in the same tier as Merab Dvalishvili. I'd still rather have Merab just because I don't know the customs that we have, you know? Like, I don't know the difference in culture that we'd have with Islam Makhachev and just the shit that's just not allowed over there. Like, I don't know if I want my daughter and my grandkids growing up in a household where they're told, you know, gay people should not exist. You know what I mean? I know he'd take my daughter to Dagestan and shit, and like I wouldn't see her for years. I'd go, she'd be in hijab, you know. There's nothing wrong with the hijab. There's nothing wrong with all that shit. But again, like, I don't really want to have my daughter in a culture that is as close-minded as the culture where Khabib, Islam, and Hamza grew up in. Now, you guys might be, you know, I know, already type in the comments, right? But that's just what it is. I don't want my daughter, I don't want my grandkids to be thinking, hey man, like, gay people don't have right to exist. Trans people this, that, like, it just feels a little bit hateful. All right, we're gonna put fucking Islam Makhachev in the UI tier. Now in the mid tier, Arnold Allen. I'm gonna have to put him again above, up above Merab, just because I haven't seen Arnold Allen do no bullshit with no random ladies on the street. But I just gotta put him here just because I think the conversations would be a little non-verbal. Right? We'd be sitting at the dinner table, be like, so Arnold, what do you do? Oh, you know, I fight. I like to fight. Like, I just feel like they would be very, very non-verbal conversations. We'd be sitting there, low-key, awkward silence for like 80% of the dinner. He's a chill guy. I know he never hurt my daughter. I know he never do no bullshit like Connor or fucking, you know, Dan Hooker or whatever. But I gotta put him there. I gotta put Arnold. He just doesn't incite nothing in me. Now, Alex Pereira. Oh, this is a hard one for me because I have to put my bias aside. Of course, I'd love to put him at the top tier, mi casa tu casa, because I'd love to have Alex in the family. But I have to put him bottom of When Is the Wedding. Just because I haven't seen a single relationship from him last. He has 2 sons, I believe, with 2 different mothers. Or 2 children with 1 mother. Then they broke up. And then he had that one German girlfriend that cheated on him. And then he was fucking with Tracy Cortez. And then he was fucking with, what's that girl's name? She got the fucking Naruto tattoos on. Oh, something with a V. Yeah, man. He just been running through too many girls for my liking, personally, right? So I'd have to put him here. I'd have to put him in When's the Wedding, bottom of When's the Wedding. I love Alex. I'd just be nervous as fuck every time they argued, because I'd be like, oh man, they finna get a divorce, bruh. For the 4th time, they finna break up, and it's gonna be Alex leaving again. I'd be nervous as fuck for my daughter. I'd be ready with the tissues, with the chocolate, just in case anything happened. But yeah, man. Paddy Pimblett. Bro, you know what it is about Paddy Pimblett, and the reason I don't like him as a fighter? I have to put him right below Hamza, and that might be a crazy placement. I'm gonna put him above Hamza, alright? Just because he doesn't have the same issues that Hamza has, but Paddy Pimblett, the reason I don't like him as a fighter is the same reason I wouldn't want him to date my daughter. I believe he's too immature. I believe he is not willing to change, and he has a mentality of always being yourself no matter what. You're the best, you're this, you're that, with no room for change. You see this guy on Embedded, you see this guy like, I just feel like he's a sloppy fella, you know? Gets fucked up out of camp, gets super fucking fat, very irresponsible of him, very, like, that's a sign of an eating disorder, honestly, like, man, I'd be worried because Paddy Pimblett's super, I feel like he's very immature. He'd really not help out around the house that much. That's the vibe he gives me. And I'd be worried for my daughter. I'd be like, bro, this guy's gonna burn my daughter out big time. My daughter's gonna be fucking pissed dating this guy, alright? So Paddy Pimblett, absolutely fucking not. Also the hair doesn't help in the slightest, you know? This fucking guy looks like me when I was 7 years old. Yeah, man. Carlos Prates. Again, I'm gonna have to put him in absolutely not above or like below Paddy Pimblett. You know, he's a little bit worse than Paddy Pimblett in my opinion. Just because of the partying, bro. Yes, he said he's gonna party less, he's gonna settle down. With the age, that's gonna go down. But bro, there's alcohol, there's nicotine, there's all types of drugs involved. I don't trust my daughter around the guy like that, you know? I'd hope that my daughter wouldn't be into all that, you know, when she's of age. But you never know, and I don't want Carlos Prates to be influencing my daughter into taking substances. Obviously, places like big ass parties and shit, not the safest place for women in general. A lot of creepy fellas, a lot of roofies, a lot of Bill Cosby's in the area. So yeah, man, give me Carlos Prates in the absolutely not tier. I think he's a little bit worse than Patty, but a little bit better than Hamza. All right, Yuri Prohaska, yes sir, yes sir. Now Yuri, 100%. I'm very happy. Congratulations to Yuri for having his child, by the way. Like, his wife is pregnant or whatever. I have to put Yuri at Mi Casa Su Casa. Mi Casa es tu casa, hermano. I have to put him below Charles just because Charles is just great. Like, there's no issues with Charles whatsoever. Yuri, oh Yuri. Where do I even begin him, alright? Like the LeBron glaze. This guy, super educated, getting his fucking master's degree in some random bullshit, you know, some. I think he was doing something with like training in high altitudes, right? Getting his master's. He's very determined. You see that in all his fights. He has a big heart. I know he'd fight for the relationship. If the relationship needed fighting, he'd be a fucking great father. Maybe a little bit rough with the kids, but he'd be great. Like I know he would never hurt my wife or kid, like his wife or kids. And I'd love to have him in the home. I'd love to ask him, like, a random ass question. Like, so, Yuri, like, what do you think of fucking Barcelona, bro? Like, what do you think of the city now you come and visit me and my daughter? He's like, the city is strong. I feel the heart of the city. And it is like Raging Bull. Or something like that. Like, he'd just be on some random bullshit. And I'd be completely entertained. Absolutely. One of my favorite fighters of all time. One of the best guys that could date my daughter. Without a doubt. Alright? BSD. Now. BSD. I put him below Pereira and Wentz the Wedding. But I fuck with BSD, bro. Is it wrong? Okay, my hands are up, alright? My hands are up. Is it wrong to say that you let BSD date your daughter because he has aura? Is that fucked up to say? I'd let my daughter, bro. If your daughter's dating a guy, do you want him or do you not want him to have aura? Bro, of course I want my son-in-law to have aura. Like, look at these cool ass edits of my son-in-law, bro. No, man, I fuck with BSD. He seems like a chill guy. You know, he probably have like in the middle of the night some sort of PTSD flashback and start beating the fuck out of my daughter by accident, but that happened like one time. Apart from that, great guy. He seems super chill. You know, shout out to my French casual. Shout out to my French homie. You know, I fuck with BSD. I think he'd cause no issues for my daughter. And just a chill guy all around. All right. Corey Sandhagen. Similar situation. I just think he's in the UI tier. Better than Arnold Allen. Better than Marab. Better than Islam. But he's just like a chill, nerdy, you know, chill, nerdy guy. I feel like we wouldn't connect that much, me and him. And I feel like this is the type of guy that he talks to you like you're low-key stupid. Like, you talk to Corey Sandhagen and you ask him a question, and you know those people that respond to you as if you should already know the answer. They're like, yeah, because you know it's just how it is, bro. Like, I just feel like he'd give me those type of bullshit ass responses. I don't want that shit in my house, bro. You in my house disrespecting the fuck out of me? Hell no. All right, I'm making this shit up in my head, that ass. But Corey Sandhagen, you all right? He also doesn't inspire anything special in my heart. Okay? John Silva, absolutely not. Worse than Patty, worse than Carlos even. Worse than Hamza. I think he never hurt my daughter, but I would be always worried that he would. You know what I mean? Like, this guy would be living in that borderline of he might just snap one day. I think he's probably the most, on this tier list, other than Jones maybe, because fuck Jones, he's probably the most like emotionally unstable guy on here. And I don't want my daughter to be around. I don't want my daughter to have to anchor someone to reality. I don't want my daughter to have to anchor someone to their sanity the way John Silva's wife does for him. Shout out to her. She looks like a wonderful lady. I'm sure she's doing wonders for his mental health. I just don't want my daughter to be you know, carrying that kind of responsibility, you know? Like, for real, guys just be doing anything except going to therapy. John Silva, brother, please. Talk to someone, alright? Not my daughter, though. Next, Sean Strickland. Same situation to John Silva, really. Now, is it worse or better? I think he's a little bit better than John. But these guys are peas in a pod when it comes to this shit. I think Sean I fuck with Sean. You know, I'm recording this video before the Hamza fight. I'm praying for Sean to win. I know Hamza's gonna cook him though. But like Sean gives me, I know he does it like kind of for the bit, kind of for real. But he's got some crazy political views. This guy's out here glazing like Trump, and then when he found out about the Epstein files, you know, he was like, oh fuck, never mind. But I don't know, man. I just don't trust Sean around my daughter. I don't think he's stable enough. I think he goes into the bit a little bit too much. And we've seen he has a lot of trauma, a lot of issues behind him, you know, similar to John Silva. I don't want my daughter to deal with all that. Again, shout out to Sean's girlfriend or wife or whatever it is right now. She's done wonders for Sean Strickland, like 100% without a doubt. But I don't want my daughter in that situation, bro. Dead ass, all right? Peyton Talbot. Now, would I let my son date Peyton Talbot? No. I think Peyton Talbot gives me the vibes. He goes both ways, so shout out to him for that. I would for sure let Peyton Talbot date my daughter. I fuck with bro. He's authentic. I think more, yeah. Like around the Max Holloway, Peyton Talbot, maybe above Max Holloway, just because the thing I said about Max Holloway not being like ambitious, not having a future or anything else, I'm sure Peyton Talbot would be some sort of artist. You know, at least he has that going for him. Max Holloway would be a failed Twitch streamer if he wasn't a fighter, all right? So Peyton Talbot, I would love to see him date my daughter. He's very himself. He's very open. Again, very comfortable with his emotions. We said that about Charles Oliveira as well. Shout out to him, bro. Ilya Taporia. My brother, UI. I'm keeping my eye on you. All right. I'm putting him in the top of UI. I am Spanish. This guy would be, you know, we'd be chopping it up in Spanish. Maybe my daughter would teach this guy Catalan, you know. But I don't know. This guy, you know, a lot of money, a lot of fame. Low-key following the Conor McGregor storyline, I'm worried. I'd be worried for my daughter, especially with the knowledge that I have of how it turned out with Conor McGregor. I'd be worried. So this is the perfect tier for him because it's the, I'm keeping my eye on you, brother. I'm looking at you. I'm not completely, you haven't won me over yet, all right? Arman Sarukian, absolutely fucking not. Absolutely not. Better than Hamza, I believe. But he's in the same tier with Protes. Because, boy, this fucking guy is super rich, right? Lots of resources, and he abuses the fuck out of that factor. He'd be going anywhere. He'd be probably sleeping with like 30 girls at a time. Like, bro. At the current moment, I would not want Arman Sarukian to be dating my daughter, bro. Like, at this current, maybe like 20 years. Right now, no way. Absolutely no way, all right? Joshua Van. I fuck with Joshua Van. I have to put him in the UI tier, and I'm going to put him right below. I'm going to put him in similar range to Merab, and that's just because he's so young that I feel like, yes, he's very, you know, he's very religiously driven. You know, he has a great community, this isn't that. I just feel like he low-key a playboy. I just feel like he got motion in Myanmar. I'm sure Joshua Van got motion in Myanmar. He got low-key 20 hoes out there waiting for him. Just wait a couple years, 5 more years, and then you can date Joshua Van. But right now, current state, I'd be keeping my eye on Joshua Van very heavy. I'd be worried, all right? I'd be worried for my daughter. And lastly, Alexander Volkanovski. I'm going to put him below Charles. Again, Charles just has everything going for him. That rant I went on just a second ago. That just proves this guy is the elite of the elite when it comes to husband material. But Volkanovski's right below that. He doesn't do as much for his community, but he's a great father. We've seen him. He's fathered 3 daughters. I think 4 on the way. Am I tripping? He's a great cook. You know, I'm sure my daughter would be well fed in his household. He's dangerous, but he's stable. He has a great sense of humor. He's an Aussie. I fucking love the Aussies. He's a champ. He has heart. He fights for it. Fought out that Ortega guillotine. He'd fight for my daughter. I fucking love Alex Volkanovski, and he's short. So I'd little bro him. No, I'm just kidding. He'd beat the fuck out of me. I would not be able to little bro Alex Volkanovski. But yeah, man. Thank you guys for watching. What do you guys think of the tier list? Who would you put in each of these tiers? And who would you include that I have not talked about on this tier list, alright? Thank you guys again for watching. I'm going to go cut my nails, alright? Ciao.